I just can't tell you clearly how much time I spend on Instagram. But I can't tell you how excited I am to welcome in Club Pro Guy. Now, if you think I'm like a fake fan or I'm just coming across this, I mean, I'm on the mailing list, and my God, Club Pro Guy, you guys send out a lot of push notifications for what's available now to me. But I mean, I'm an owner of this bad boy right here.
Gosh.
I've been known to I wear this on my podcast, Daddy Issues. I host with Oliver Hudson. With this right here, my punch-out game is #elite. And now we've got Club Pro Guy joining us from, I guess, 3 Jack National. Club Pro Guy, is that where we're finding you today?
No, I'm coming to you live from the Learning Center. And hey, Joe, by the way, tell me you wear that polo on the first tee at Old Warson.
I missed you. Sorry. Somebody was say that again. I'm sorry.
Tell me you wear that polo on the first tee at Boone Valley or Old Warson.
I swear to you, I'm waiting for the right match that I am not scared of wearing this at any of the #elite country clubs or golf facilities that this country might provide all of us. So yes, this will be on my body. I will somehow post it or send you a picture of it. Don't worry, I'm not scared, Club Pro Guy.
Love it.
So for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to go over the resume. And again, I can't recommend this guy any higher on Instagram. For those of you living under a rock, here's your reminder. Current club professional, once tied, listen to this, for 44th at the 1992 Yucatan Masters, and he drives a 1990 Mazda Miata. He holds the distinction of defending his 6,583rd position in the world golf rankings for 311 weeks, which is amazing. It's never been done. What are your thoughts, Club Pro Guy, on this PGA Championship so far?
Well, if I'm being honest, I'm a little bit disappointed in the play of the club professionals. You know, we send these guys out there to play in a huge event like this to essentially represent us club pros. And out of the 20 guys that play, not one of them's on the leaderboard, which I think reflects poorly on us as a group. You know, the bottom line is the club pros need to play better. But as far as the golf course goes, I didn't realize until this week that Southern Hills had a big renovation done to it a couple years ago. I actually played this golf course back in the mid-'90s when it had a lot more trees, and back then it was more of a shot maker's course, which really suited my game because I'm a ball striker. But now, post-renovation, it seems like they've turned the course into more of a bomber's paradise, which I think it takes a lot of the skill out of it, and I think that's reflected by the guys we're seeing on the leaderboard right now.
Like Stuart Sink? Bomber? I don't.
Yes, he's nodding through pixelation. I think he's agreeing. He's agreeing with you. I've never been more intimidated to look into a screen and see a pixelated face talking back at me. I feel like I'm doing Dateline or something. Anyway, let's get back to the questions at hand. How is the renovation, speaking of renovations, at 3 Jack National? I know this has been quite the arduous project, and now we're seeing it with the routing that looks just genius over on the right. Give your members an update.
Well, we're getting there. The property is actually located on the side of an old abandoned shopping mall, and I think anyone who knows anything about golf course architecture would agree that this might be one of the most pristine pieces of foreclosed property in the Midwest. Right now, we're dealing with some major environmental issues that my lead designer, Hank Jones, is trying to cover up. But the bigger challenge is that we don't have a lot of space. Our opening 3 holes butt right up against Interstate 635, which is a busy highway. And the tee boxes for the first 3 holes are basically right on the shoulder. And anybody with a right to left ball flight at all has a great chance of killing some on that highway. So just like they're doing here at Southern Hills, we've got a bunch of holes that crisscross each other in order to save space. But make no mistake, Joe, this is going to be a players' club. Okay, the vibe we're going for at Three Jack is what I like to call laid back luxury. And to make that a reality, I've partnered with a local public swimming pool as well as a local Asian day spa to provide amenities for our members that I think will be second to none. And if I can say one more thing about Three Jack guys, the thing I'm probably most excited about is very similar to that Evans Scholar program for caddies. I'm launching our Tompkins Scholars program, which is a first of its kind beverage cart girl training program that takes young women from the community and teaches them life skills through operating a beverage cart. And
You're doing God's
honestly,
work. You're doing God's
I
work.
think I think this is going to be a game changer for young people, and it's a pilot program that I hope, quite frankly, can kind of catch on nationwide.
I'm looking at the layout of that golf course, and the first thing I thought was, I don't think you can even have carts on that golf course, especially now if I know you're up right up against the highway and all the crisscrossing that's going on there. But as weird as I think that course design is, John Rahm tweeted out something that we can put up here.
We should talk about a membership. I heard it's been hard to get in, but I'm sure we can figure something out.
And after he tweeted this out, he lost world number one. I'm not saying.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Listen, was I flattered when John, put that out there? Sure. I'm building a semi-private golf club that the best player in the world wants to be a part of. And I think that validates what we're doing here. But for John to splash his intentions all over social media like that didn't do him any favors. Joining a club like this is a process, and John's going to have to go through the process like everybody else. This isn't Silverleaf in Scottsdale or Seminole in Florida where they just automatically let you in because you play on tour. It doesn't work like that here. So my advice to John would be to stay patient, uh, focus on his game, focus on the community, and I think in time his opportunity will come. Oh, by
I
the way,
was just
Joe, by the way, speaking of guys that got in, your boy Ozzie Smith got in recently. In
No,
fact,
I saw that.
He's been here in the Learning Center working on some stuff. He's a great dude.
He is a great dude, and that was a great video that you guys put up. My favorite of anything you do is when you break down swings of just random members who might be playing, let's say, in a nice pair of jorts, or just some of your more elite guys that have angles that you're drawing, like a coat hanger angle, or the hump move that you describe so well. And I know you did a breakdown of Scotty Scheffler's swing. Here's Ozzie. Here's Ozzie where you're actually, I think this was more of a hip thing that you were teaching Ozzie.
Yeah, Ozzie is a lot better at baseball than he is golf. I'll tell you that right now. But he's getting better and better. We're working on a lot of stuff.
when actually did you take that swim noodle back to the public pool that you're associating with? And when did rollerblades?
Well, that's the Scheffler.
Scotty Scheffler there.
Yeah, as a teaching pro, you have to remember, Michael, that I'm able to see things in a golf swing that most of my students can't, because they're terrible. So when a top player like Scotty installs a new move into a swing, I'm going to take notice. And not only do I notice, but I feel like I've got an obligation to pass that information on to my students because that's pretty much how you grow the game. And like I said in that video, that Scotty video at the time, I thought that slip out move of his right foot at the Masters, I thought it was accidental because of the inconsistent turf at Augusta National. But as I looked closer, I started to see that it was intentional. And the reality is, if you want to ingrain a radical new move like this into your swing, you have to completely rewire your brain. And to do that, you have to over-exaggerate the move. And that's what I was trying to show people there with the rollerblades. By the way, I took that out on the course. It doesn't work at all. I ended up losing a ton of distance and sprayed it everywhere. But if you saw at the end of that video, I fell down and actually had a little minor hit pointer from that ever since. So I would not recommend that move to anybody.
As we see Tiger now putting from the fringe.
I would imagine you
This
would
for birdie.
you would have Tiger or the aforementioned Scotty Scheffler in the category of elite. Are these two of the elite golfers that you're seeing out here at the PGA Championship?
Yeah, great players for sure. There's very few in today's game that are truly elite. I think if I had to name one guy who I think is truly elite, it would probably be Patrick Reed because he's a prototypical two-way player, which means he's a guy that can beat you multiple ways, which you don't see a lot of anymore. He can beat you by playing great golf, and he can beat you by bending the rules, which I love because that's how I play the game. But
That's the other way. Okay.
other than that, I think Kevin Kisner's elite because he's a guy that can't win a golf tournament. He knows he can't win on a tournament on a course that's over 7,000 yards, but he still cashes huge checks. I think Jordan Spieth is elite for taking huge amounts of money from Under Armour, knowing full well that they make the ugliest shirts in the industry. But
Did you
When
just
you
talk
think
about
of-
an ugly shirt? Hey man, look, you're an elite teacher, and your lessons, I'm sure, are not cheap whatsoever. So I'm impressed with the fact that you have kept that Miata in your fleet of one. And I would love to kind of figure out. There it is, right? I mean, that is when I think elite club pro professional, like who I'm getting a lesson from, that's the car on the right that I want to see pull it up.
listen, I've always been a big believer that looking like you're successful is every bit as important as actually being successful. So when I first got my tour card, I wanted to treat myself to a premium sports car. And luckily, my sister was nice enough to co-sign on that loan, and I bought that Miata right off the lot and headed down to Mexico with it. And it wasn't until I got down there that I realized my Lynx staff bag wouldn't fit in the trunk, which was a total pain in the ass. My caddy Ernesto had to basically hold that huge bag on his lap as we drove all over the country between tour stops. But what I didn't count on was missing my first 44 cuts on tour, which naturally meant I stopped making payments on the car. And unbeknownst to me, my sister had to declare bankruptcy, which she never quite recovered from. But somehow I was able to hold on to that car. And when I finally retired and took a job at the club pro, believe it or not, I actually thought about selling it. But one of the things I realized was when you're a club pro, in order to have credibility with the members, you have to look the part. And I thought that car would give me a certain amount of gravitas, and it has. When you drive a car like that, it basically says, here's a guy who's super successful, but also likes to party. And I've always believed that to be a club pro, you have to dress great, you have to play great golf, and you have to drive an impressive car. And I feel like I've certainly checked all three of those boxes.
Man, you've said a lot here today, Club Pro Guy, and just keep saying all that you say on Instagram because it's fantastic. And thanks for the post yesterday for promoting this appearance. Every little bit helps. So thank you. God bless. Godspeed. And just keep being Club Pro Guy.
Guys, I appreciate it. It's been an honor to be here.
There he is with his net 5. What? He's been unmasked.